Herkimer.
Well, Herkimer was an adorable little black cat that I had when I must have been about, I don't know, 9 or 10 years old. And somehow he got out of the house and ran away.
Never to return?
Never to return. But I never forgot him. I never forgot the name. And one day I was inspired to write this tune about Herkimer.
He just went his merry way.
He went his merry way.
He wanted to be free.
I guess he did.
Now, he was a boy cat?
Oh, dear. I don't remember. I guess so. I don't remember.
Of course, boy cats will prowl.
Maybe that's what it is.
And if you reach the right girl cat,
Right. Maybe that's what happened.
He won't be back.
But he was a kitten. I mean, he wasn't even a cat yet.
But he was in your mind, though.
Yeah, he never went away.
Who was with you on that recording?
Okay, I had Bertha Hope on piano.
Yeah.
Miriam Sullivan, a.k.a. Mimi Jones on bass. Bernice Boom Boom Brooks on drums.
Yeah, you had quite an ensemble there.
Yes, quite an ensemble.
And that's your tune. You wrote that tune.
Yes, that's my tune. That's correct. Yeah.
Well, we appreciate that, and we appreciate your talent and your music, and we appreciate you coming on the program.
Well, I thank you for asking me back again. It's a pleasure.
Where are you working? What's your projects? What's happening?
It's been wonderful in 2013. I actually just I finished something just yesterday. Actually, it was at my church. I'm in the classical and the jazz world, right?
Yes, I know, because you're trained in both directions.
I am.
Yeah.
And just yesterday we had a big production at my church. We did parts of the Messiah and parts of the Seven Last Words, and I am the pianist for the.
Wow.
For that. We do it twice
Which church is
a year.
That?
Presbyterian Church of St. Albans.
Oh, yes.
Yes, out in St. Albans, Queens.
Yeah.
And so, actually, my next thing that I have, I play with, I'm pianist for a big band. It's called the Ray Abrams Big Band.
Yes.
And we have 2 performances in April one at Swing 46 up on 46th Street Restaurant Row.
Yes.
Which is a fun gig because loads of people, professional dancers as well as...
I used to go there quite often.
Did you really?
And dance.
It's a fun
Absolutely,
place.
Yeah.
The only thing with doing that gig is I love to dance, and when you're playing the piano in the band, you can't dance. You have to play. So it's tough for me.
In fact, I learned how to put the lady over my shoulder from a big fellow there named Jojo who did it with such ease. Used to take the woman this way and that way.
Is that right?
And then right over his shoulder. And I learned that, if and this is nothing about anyone else. I'm just talking about men and women dancing right now. If a man and woman want to dance together, the steps become almost irrelevant. They can dance together if they want to dance together.
I believe that.
There's no way around it that they can't dance. Now, if people don't have a connection to each other, the steps become more and more important, or how they work. But if 2 people work together within the rhythm and the sounds and they're enjoying...
Was that connection between 2 people?
Absolutely. So I used to get over there.
Yeah.
A good friend of mine who you may know, his name is Mr. Blues Williams. He's known as Mr. Blues.
Okay.
He's been around a long time in Harlem. And all over the New York area, and he had his gig down there, and that's how I started going there. I found out at that time it was on Wednesday night, and when on Wednesday night was the dancing, special dancing, and then it was at the same night as the Union, when the Union had the open mic, was Monday night.
Monday nights,
and Keisha St. Joan, a mutual friend, Keisha St. Joan, wonderful singer, entertainer, she got us into the Monday night thing where we went to the Union first, and then from the Union we used to go to the place and do that. But thanks for letting us let us know all of that. We appreciate your music. And if we have an opportunity, we'll play something else later on the show.
Fine.
Dina, back to you. We're talking with Dina Wilcox. She's written a book, which is Why Do I Feel How I Feel?
Why do I feel this way?
Why do I feel this way? That's a good question. Why do I feel this way? Can you help me? Can you tell me? Why do I feel this way?
Well, you have to keep in mind that it's separate from why you think you feel the way you do, because it's really very different. The reason we have feelings is so that we can understand that we're having a response or a reaction to something that's going on in our lives, either in our imagination or in fact going on in our lives. And feelings are there to give us an opportunity to make a decision or a choice about what, if anything, we want to do about that feeling. So they basically are a tool for helping you be in action. And what your brain is hoping is that the action you choose is going to be a life-saving one or a life-reinforcing one, that it will further your well-being.
Yes.
Because that's the brain's job and its goal.
So when we have the improper perception of a given set of circumstances, how do we know that? Because most of the time, these perceptions are so deep within our psyche that we would never recognize that our interpretation is incorrect.
I'm really glad you brought that up. You're actually taking me back to one of the things I wanted to say in response to your first question, which is that we have basically two memory systems. We have a lot of little ones, but we have two fundamental memory systems. The one that's most interesting is your emotional memory system. When you were born, it was fully matured. And so most of what you know about love and anger and relationship, you learned from the infant who you were. And those things are still prompting you. Those things are still part of your perceptions. Those things are the things that are causing the confusion for you and often the problem for you. You don't understand why you're, and obviously I don't mean just you, Anthony, it's part of the human condition.
No, you do. Absolutely.
I know that, but I have never spoken to a person, including this very one right here, who has said something different about that. And it is because I now understand that I learned about loving when I was an infant.
Now, just hold it. I'm going to ask Bill Russo to join us. If you can get a chair here, Bill.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah, we want Bill. And you guys scrunch this way a little bit.
Okay.
A little bit more. We have to really scrunch. Scrunch a little more, Dina. A little more. I want to get Bill in the shot.
Bill, scrunch.
Okay, and we're joined
ready.
now by Bill Russo, who is the host of the premier flagship show of the City World Radio Network, none other than Bill Russo himself. And we're asking him now, he's been listening to us discuss these things, and we want to get some of his input as well. Bill, you've heard what we've been talking about, that our perceptions and our ideas of what's happening to us are really formed at such an early point in time, we may not even know why we behave as we do in a given set of circumstances.
Well, I would imagine that some of our decisions and our actions are conscious, and some of our decisions and actions are subconscious and shaped by our past. That seems to be the gist of what you're saying. Now, that's all to say that we have to hold you, Anthony, responsible for your decisions and your actions.
Well,
That's certainly true.
You know, one of the greatest things, and I'm so glad to have Dotti and Dina here tonight, one of the greatest things that happens to all human beings, even those that are extremely confident, is that thought that I'm not good enough, I'm not valuable enough,
yes.
I'm not important enough, I'm not worth enough. And it sounds so cliche because there must be 10,000 books which talk about this, but it's true.
It is true.
It just happens to be true. And we were talking about being caregivers, and Bill recently just spent several years taking care of his mom with all but no support. All but no support. And did everything that had to be done. And we were discussing how caregivers feel when it's over, and second guessing is almost routine. I've never met a caregiver that was a caregiver and said, yeah, it's all done now, I did what I had, and they just move on fine. I would suspect that they're pretending. It might be their way of dealing.
Well.
Yeah,
I do.
Yeah.
I think you make a good point, Anthony, especially relating to the caregiving experience or anyone who has a responsibility for another person. There's a certain amount of second guessing that goes along with that. The person who is doing the caregiving, whether they're doing an adequate job or not an adequate job. And I recall many interactions with other caregivers, other people who are caring for someone, constantly second guessing themselves and constantly thinking that they're not doing as good a job as they could do. There's also